Having a list of money tasks that you should complete has been incredibly helpful for my own life. Do you know what financial tasks you need to be completing right now? Do you know what you need to do daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly to get in a better financial place? If not, we're here to help, because today in this video, I'm going to go over some of the tasks that you should be doing with your money, with your finances to get you in a better place. I'm going to share the daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly tasks that can help you financially succeed. If you're new, my name is Mary and this is Pennies Not Perfection, and this is where I share all of the personal financial information that I've learned over the years after paying off tons of debt, getting myself into a better financial place, and building a nest egg for my future that is going to take care of my family no matter what happens. I'm very excited to be sharing these ideas with you, and I hope they get you into a better financial place as well. So first, we're going to look at what you should be doing every single day. And this is a little bit negotiable. You don't necessarily have to do it daily, but you should definitely do it every day or two and make sure that you are doing these things to kind of stay on track with your bigger financial goals. And those two daily tasks that I would recommend for you financially are to, one, check your bank balance. Make sure you know how much money you have. Don't spend blindly without knowing how much money is actually in your account. It's a great idea to make sure you know what's in your account, what's coming out, and how much is left over. And then number two is to actually check your transactions for accuracy. You would be surprised at how many things are not actually correct or get messed up, or especially when you're at a restaurant or something, there can be confusion when they're entering things in. So just check to make sure that what you spent is actually what is showing up and what is reflected in those transactions. It's just a quick check and then you are good to go. And then if you catch something, you're able to fix it quickly and not have any issues. So next, let's talk about those weekly tasks. What should you do maybe once a week to make sure that you're on track financially? First, you should actually check in with your spending and see if you're spending according to the budgets and limits that you've set for yourself. It's always a good idea to check in on your spending each week, especially on categories where you tend to overspend. This is something that you can do just once a week. Pick a day, sit down, see kind of where you are. If you have an app that shows what you're spending, like Monarch or Copilot or something, or even if you're doing a spreadsheet on your computer or writing it down, no matter how you're doing it, something that quickly shows you how much you're spending in a certain category can be a really easy way to check on this during the week and then adjust your habits and what you're doing for that week if you're way off track. This is a lot easier to do weekly than to wait for the end of the month and realize you've gone way off the rails and you're struggling, because it's just easier to correct in the weekly spending than to wait for the end of the month. And then the next weekly task I would recommend is to set a money goal for the week and have that guide you as you spend money, as you do everything financially that you need to. Setting a goal gives you something to focus on and makes your spending and saving intentional, and that is always a good thing. So now let's talk about the monthly tasks. And this is something that you're going to do once a month, and it is something that will help guide all of those weekly and daily tasks. So the first thing is to actually set a budget for the month. Most people do budget by month, and that is just because it's easiest. But I also recommend that you break down your monthly budget into paycheck budgets. That is much easier for most people to actually implement than the monthly budget. So if you are able to, you can write out that monthly budget and then break it down into the individual paycheck budgets, whether you get paid bi-weekly or twice a month, or if you get paid weekly even, you can kind of adjust your monthly budget to those weekly or bi-weekly paychecks. Then that budget gives you what you're going to look at when you are checking in on your weekly spending and all of that. The next thing to do monthly is to set a goal. So basically your main goal, whether that's saving, investing, or paying off debt, you're going to look at that. And then you're going to set a monthly goal for what you want to accomplish there. So maybe for the month, you've decided you want to save up $500. And then every other thing that you're going to do that month is going to help accomplish that goal. That is going to be your main focus. I highly recommend just doing one, maybe two, but keeping it really focused so that you're able to accomplish that goal. Another great thing to do monthly is to check all of your account balances. While I highly recommend you check your actual checking spending account more often than that, doing a once a month check of all of your balances and even calculating your net worth based on that can be really helpful. So having the monthly check-in gives you the ability to also make sure that all of your debt payments were applied appropriately, or that your mortgage payment went through, or things like that. Basically checking all of your balances on your debt, your investments, your savings. Just make sure that everything looks right once a month, and it doesn't take that long. And if you have an app that pulls all that information in, you can do it really quickly. Or if you don't like using something that links all your accounts, you can just log into each one individually. And then the final thing to do monthly is to look at the past month and see how you did and make adjustments to your spending and savings and your budget based on that. The best way to budget is to actually be realistic, and using your past month is the best way to do that. So I highly recommend once a month you are looking at what you did previously and making adjustments based on that. So now let's talk about the quarterly goals. I would recommend a couple different things here. And the first one is to check in on your bigger goals, your yearly goals, things like saving up a big amount for a down payment or paying off a huge amount of debt in a year. Check on those things, see where you are, see if you've accomplished so far in the year what you are hoping to accomplish, and then look at the next 3 months, the next quarter, and see what is realistic for that goal and how much you are going to progress on it. That's always a good time to check in on something yearly. You can do it monthly as well, but I find that quarterly is a good time because it gives you a bigger chunk of progress and you're able to kind of better evaluate the rest of the year based on those 3 months. Another great thing to do quarterly is to check your credit score. You don't always need to check this like weekly or daily or anything like that, but checking it once a quarter gives you an idea of where you stand with your credit, because credit is so important to so many aspects of your life. So you want to make sure your credit score is still doing well, and checking in quarterly is a good time to do that. And then another thing I like to do quarterly is to tackle any financial tasks that I've been avoiding. So maybe you need to open a new account, or maybe you need to close an account. Maybe you have something that you're just putting off or keep forgetting. So once a quarter, when you're doing this check-in, you can just make sure that you are tackling that one financial thing that you've been avoiding or forgetting, and just knock it off your list, get it off, get it done. Don't have to remember it ever again. And that's always nice. So get rid of it, get that financial task out of the way, and move on with your life. And now let's talk about the things you should do at least once a year. So these are yearly tasks that you can do once a year. If you're new to budgeting or financial planning or anything like that, you can do them in the beginning. But if you're not new, you can do them just once a year, kind of update things and make sure things are smoothly going and flowing in your life. The first is to create a yearly budget. And this is just helpful so that you are able to then break down that yearly budget into monthly budgets. So you just are constantly breaking things down into smaller amounts and smaller pieces so that you can handle it. But having a yearly budget where you look at when things are due, when your big expenses happen during the year, allows you to plan better when you're creating those monthly budgets. So sitting down once a year and kind of looking at your year, planning it out and figuring out what actually goes where is really helpful. And then another thing to do when you're working on that is to create all of your sinking funds and your targets for those. I love sinking funds. I have a video on that if you want to watch it. And it basically is creating all these separate accounts where you can put money in throughout the year, and then you have a little pot of money to handle expenses that are irregular or unexpected, and then you are good to go and don't have to go into debt or worry about those expenses when they pop up. So I highly recommend creating your sinking fund plan basically once a year and then following it for the rest of the year. So once a year, you should also set and adjust your long-term goals. Basically, you should be able to sit down, and if you have a partner, do it with them. If you're alone, do it by yourself, but basically look at what you want from your life, what you want in the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, what you want for retirement. Set some goals for those longer term things so that you're able to work on them with your budget every single time you get paid and put money toward those goals. You aren't able to accomplish big goals that are 20-year goals without doing a little bit every single time you get paid. That's the easiest way to break it down. So basically every time, every year, you need to make sure you're aware of those goals, what you want them to be, what you are trying to strive for, so that you're able to kind of work them into your regular spending and savings and all of that. That's the best way to do it. So definitely yearly check in on what you want out of your life and what big goals you have. Maybe sometimes you're striving for a goal and it's no longer relevant. You just decide you don't want to do that anymore. Get rid of it. Yearly, you can decide, like, change your goals, change what you're working on. That's a good time to do it. And then the final thing that I recommend doing yearly is to check all of your accounts and update all of your admin items. So make sure that all of your passwords are changed probably once a year. Make sure that they are safe and secure. Make sure that you have updated beneficiaries in case anything happens to you, your money goes to the right people. Just basically check all of those admin things that people tend to not think about changing ever. forever, but are really helpful and really useful to change and update and make sure are correct at least once a year. That doesn't take long, but it's really easy to forget those things when you're setting up an account or if you've had a big life change. So just having it as a task on your yearly to-do list is really helpful. So those are some of the tasks that you can do daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly to help you get in a better financial place. Being organized with your money is the best way to succeed at any financial goal. And I highly recommend, if you're feeling out of control, if you're feeling like your finances are just horrible, get organized, figure out the tasks you need to do, and find a system that works for you so that you're able to accomplish your goals and feel more confident with your money, because the more organized you are, the more confident you're going to be. I hope this video is helpful. Definitely check out this next video to help you along your journey.